right, welcome back, our freaks and geeks, to another Square Roundtable podcast. And I'm your host, Dmitri, and it's my co-host.
What it do is Marcus.
And here we are here for a kind of a discussion today because we're feeling like a lot with all these live action Disney remakes that are coming out. We have to talk about how they just don't live up
It
to
don't
the
hit the
originals.
same. Yeah,
They
it don't
just
hit the
don't.
same. And who asked for them? Because I know I did. Now I
I
will
didn't.
disclaimer before we get into it. We're not saying that they're terrible movies.
No.
Some of them are good. It's an exception with some of them. And then I did hear that the movie did pretty good. Wish we could have got that as an animated film.
Yeah.
I think that is actually a story that like should have been told. So I give that an exception. But I just had to put that out there. We ain't here to bash the live
No.
action. It's a little weird to start seeing like coming out. It's the ones that they choosing now. Like they
Yeah.
doing ones that haven't even been out more than 10 years. Like Moana, Lilo and Stitch. Like, why are we doing live actions of those? I don't get it. Yeah.
We don't need to.
Yeah.
I I think my biggest thing of it is if you're gonna tell a one-to-one story of the same thing, why am I watching this? Like, why can't I just go watch
Mm-hmm.
the animated thing that is able to play with the space a lot better than a live action plays?
Yeah, definitely. And
So,
I think that's what made the animated movies so good. It was full of life
mm-hmm,
and and you can stretch it because you can do so much with it as far as like expressions, body movements, so what they could do even with the songs and stuff. I just can't wait to be king hits different in the animated version than it does in the live action
yeah,
because it's supposed to be like a musical. So
mm,
it's certain aspects like that. Even with Mulan, when they did the live action Mulan, I felt like it was a good movie, but I felt like that movie could have actually just been a whole different series about somebody else because
yeah,
it was just that's what type of vibe it gave. So it's just I don't think they really know what they're trying to do with a lot of it. But I will say this, backtrack a little bit
okay,
because we have to lay it out for people who don't probably know, but people pretty much know that Disney banked like their whole thing banked on animation. So that's how
mm-hmm,
they became
yeah.
the powerhouse that they did, which with like what was it? I think Snow White was like the first big
I think
animated
so.
full length feature film. They started with that, and then they
Mm-hmm.
got the Sleeping Beauties and what else was out there? I forget all the other ones. All the
Beauty and the Beast.
Bambi Beauty. Before that, we just
Okay,
talking
before
about like
that,
late 30s and
Black Cauldron,
40s.
right?
Yeah,
Wasn't Black Cauldron in
yeah.
there?
It's funny that you brought that up because that's what I was gonna say. They had this great like this Big Bang when they came out, and it was killing it.
Yeah,
Then like the 70s and 80s, those kind of movies. Even though like when D said that, we like Black Cauldron is not a bad animated movie, but
mm-mm.
it wasn't a success.
No,
And they made a couple of movies in the 80s and the 70s that didn't hit the same as they OG movies that came out. So they hit like a wall. So then Beauty and the Beast, like you said, and all those other films that started that renaissance, like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback, Lion King, Hercules, Aladdin,
mm-hmm.
Pocahontas, all of these, they call it the renaissance. And it's funny because half of those are the ones that they did live
Right?
actions. Okay, with this renaissance of films, and they brought Disney back to being that powerhouse of animation because they had lost the touch a little bit. So
Yeah,
it's interesting to see that a company that built this brand off of animation and kind of made that was what they're known for, kind of fall out of it and go
yeah,
into the 3D. Because even with that, when they were making these films, they were just playing around with like 3D animation with Toy Story and stuff. And even when they made Toy Story, they still were doing animation. So it's just crazy because even at the fact that like a movie like Beauty and the Beast is one of the only full length animated features to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. So that shows
yeah.
you how good, how much they was in their bag. What Beauty and the Beast came out like the early '90s, so 30 some
I
years
think
later,
so.
20 some years later, you get the live action versions, and I really think they just do it because it's like, hey, we already made them, so let's just make them for a new generation. But I
Yeah,
feel like the kids now still enjoy the animated movies just as much as live action. Because I got a niece who's 7 now, but when she was a little girl, she used to watch all that stuff with me. So it's just one of those weird transitions that we in right now with remakes. Because it's
yeah,
not just Disney; it's everywhere. Like
it's
it's reboots
everywhere.
and
Hmm.
remakes.
And I think because I work with children and stuff like that, and they don't watch the live action movies. They watch
Hmm.
anything animated. That's their thing. They're not for the most part tuning into those things. It's more or less 90s kids that grew up with those films that are going to go see these live action remakes with Beauty and the Beast and Stitch and all these other things like that. Which, by the way, if you're gonna make a live action film, Treasure Planet is right there. It's staring you in the
I would
face.
say now that one I would be happily excited about to have because it's like y'all kind of shit on it a lot and it was
Yeah.
actually good, but it's like the perfect live action movie because of the world and like everything
Mm-hmm.
about it. Like you basically
That in
could make,
Atlantis.
yeah, you could basically make a movie in that realm of Pirates of the Caribbean slash Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
slash what was the other thing I was gonna say? Pirates of the Caribbean slash Star Wars slash Lord of the Rings. Like all of that.
Yeah.
It's all of that in one thing. So if anything, give us that one. Like y'all been giving
Yeah.
us the ones that we ain't asked for.
No, like no one, and no hate to the actors and actors, but nobody wanted a Lion King remake with
Nah.
the musical cast of like Beyonce and all these other like high name people. We weren't
Yeah.
asking for that, and
Yeah.
it did well because Beyonce and these other artists sell. But
Let's say that's the only reason that it made all that money because Beyonce was in it and
so
Donald Glover.
and Donald Glover, shout out to Donald Glover, no hate, but it's like I say, I would like that or an Atlantis movie. Atlantis is perfect as
Hmm.
well. Those two will be good, but I think honestly, I think they're just cashing in on the one they know, like all the Disney adults they know they're guaranteed to go to.
They
Like,
cashed in
they're
on the
not going to bet
nostalgia.
on Treasure Planet because they didn't even bet on Treasure Planet when it came out. They're like, there's a cult following for that, but Lion King, though.
This
People
is
will
the
go see,
masses. The
right? People will go
masses will
see Lion King.
and it's they basically like cashing in off of the nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia sells.
And it's really worrying me, like twisting me, putting me in this weird space because it's like y'all came up. A lot of the ideas weren't original because they came from like old fairy tales and stuff that they reimagined. But they
Yeah.
did come up with some original stories, and I'm like Disney, you don't know how to make original good stories anymore, or adapt a fairy tale stories. Like, what's going on? Like,
Right?
why every year we seeing um a live action? It is also, if you've noticed, it's also hurting like Pixar a little bit with their movies because a lot of the Pixar films that come out don't get a lot of play on the airways or a lot of promotion and PR
Mm-mm.
like they used to because of these
Yeah.
big live action box office movies because that's what they're trying to go for, the big box office. Like some like Inside Out 2. When it came out, it was like you didn't see commercials for it at all like you usually
No.
do. Even what was the other one? Elementals.
They
That's
didn't
another
promote
one.
that at all.
And those two movies were good. They were good movies. It's
They
almost
were.
like it's taking that back seat to the live action thing now. Because, like I said, we getting a live action Moana.
And
The
Moana ain't
movie,
even been out like for 5 years or so, right? It
bro,
ain't
the
even been out
movie
for like
just came out some years ago, and the sequel just came out this what last year, the end of last year, and
I
y'all
want to
already
say end of
talking
last
about,
year.
yeah,
End of
y'all
last
already
year.
talking about doing a live action version of it. I'm like, bro, come on,
Like
y'all.
why? And I don't know. Like I like Stitch, but like I wasn't over the moon about seeing a live action Stitch. I would love to see any Disney original project besides seeing like a live action Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, it's just
Because I like
certain
Lilo and
ones.
Stitch, but it just
Yeah,
don't hit the same.
it don't hit the same, bro. Because I guarantee you that either they not gonna have the aliens in there the guys that came.
Oh yeah,
Try to
the
get
the two.
either they not
Yeah.
gonna have them in there, or they're gonna be like the little CGI looking ones, like Stitch is gonna be, or either they're gonna save it for the next one. They're gonna do something
Oh,
weird
they're
with
gonna
that.
they're gonna they're gonna milk it. You think they're gonna milk it for a sequel?
Oh, definitely, bro.
You think it's
Definitely.
getting? You think it's getting a trilogy, or you think it's just gonna stay with a sequel?
Oh Lord, not a trilogy. I was just gonna say a sequel. You talk about trilogies, man. Don't get these
I'm
folks
giving them
no
ideas,
ideas.
man. I'm giving them ideas right now because they gave Lion King, but technically gave Lion King a prequel and then two
It's a
sequels, but
prequel. It's a
it's pretty
sequel
much a
prequel.
trilogy at this point in
Yeah,
time because I'm sure it led into the original Lion King at the end. They probably tied. I haven't seen the movie, but they probably tied it
yeah.
in
I think it
somewhere.
might be because I think it's supposed to be a sequel, and it's gonna be like the Simba's Pride, basically. It's supposed to be
Oh,
that. Yeah,
the yeah.
yeah.
So
Because I
I'm
think what
sure.
they did was they told Mufasa's story, so you can see how him and Scar had their whole beef, and then
Hmm.
because I think it's Rafiki telling it to Kira, which is Simba's daughter. But I think in the second one they're gonna try to have like his other son and the daughter because they
Yeah.
came out with the show Lion Guard.
Oh,
So I think they're
Lion.
gonna
Yeah,
try to
Lion Guard.
yeah, but yeah, it's I think they're trying to create like a new canon, Lion King canon.
Right? They try to make a. They try to go for a cinematic universe here, tie
Yeah,
them together. All they need is Kingdom Hearts to do it, but they don't want to put Kingdom Hearts up there
that'd be
because
a good one,
Kingdom Hearts could tie them together. They could have an
bro.
MCU universe, man. I mean,
I would watch a Kingdom Hearts movie.
mm,
I would watch that, and to be honest, I would want it to be live action because it is one reason. Because
okay,
I want to see them do like a Mickey Mouse and Goofy, but like how Sonic is.
yeah.
I
Oh
think that would
yeah,
work like really good.
it would
I think
work.
that would work really good. See, that, like we said, we're not here to bash live
We
action.
not gonna. We giving y'all a little
It's
bit of
just
suggestions and stuff.
don't remake movies that y'all already made. Like they got
Yeah.
what's the one coming out? Snow White, and that
Oh
one is getting
yeah.
a lot of backlash right
Yeah, because they
now. A lot of
CGI
backlash. The
the dwarves.
dwarves. Hmm.
Yeah, they CGI the dwarf, and the more they interact with those or not interact, but change the dwarfs, the worse it gets. Like
That gets terrible, bro.
it gets a little off putting, and I guess maybe
And
that's,
they had actual actors. Like I think they had
yeah
little
they
people
did,
at first
yeah they
to do
did,
them, and then
and
they
then someone
changed
gave
it.
backlash. I think they got backlash on that, and then they changed them to something else. But let me ask you a question. Do you think that they do a live action Buzz Lightyear movie because they flopped it with Lightyear, which I
With
like
Lightyear.
Lightyear. Lightyear was great. I like
Yeah,
Lightyear,
I like Lightyear. I
but
went to see it
apparently
and
it
I liked it.
flops. Apparently people
You
didn't like
know,
it like that.
but before I answer that, you know what I think they should have done and where they missed. They dropped the ball big time with Lightyear.
Okay.
At the end of the movie, they should have pulled out, right? And when they pulled out at that last scene, it should have been like Andy and his friends, or Andy and his dad, or something.
Oh yeah.
And he took him to see Buzz Lightyear. That way, it'll make it like connect everything. Why he was so happy to get the toy, something like that, to let us know, hey, this is a movie he went to see. This is not like
Exactly.
Buzz Lightyear is not like a real person or something like that.
I mean, Lightyear did a lot of things that, and this is a whole other podcast. But Lightyear did a lot of things that just were weird. The
Hmm.
reveal of Zurg being himself was a little off, but
Yeah, stuff like that. I was like, why are we doing
why are we changing
the Darth
lore?
Vader? We know y'all based him off of Darth Vader, but like, why are we doing the Star Wars thing with Buzz?
And why are we just making him himself? That was weird. That was
Yeah,
a weird choice. But oh yeah. But sorry to cut you off because you were gonna answer the question. I'm sorry to cut you off.
yeah, but live action Buzz.
Do you think that that's the way that they're gonna get that back? Because
It
it didn't do well apparently.
it could, but it just goes. It now that gets into that weird territory because it's part of Toy Story.
Yeah, true.
So I don't think you would really want to mess with it. I just have to really have to say they just dropped the ball. They had that was something good. That was actually a good idea, and they
Yeah.
didn't execute it all the way through because I liked
Mm.
the whole idea of what
Yeah.
the movie and what they was doing.
Great.
Like it was really good. So
Mm-hmm.
because I was even saying you could have did that and then did a Woody one like a western to kind of show, hey,
That's where, yeah, you could have. Yeah, you could have done one for it. Honestly, all of the characters, because we don't know anything about Rex, we don't know about Slinky, we don't know anything about Woody and Jesse and the Bullseye, and we don't know nothing about their actual shows, besides the little bits we get in Toy Story. But the main reason why Disney's live action don't work is just because they just doing the stuff that we already seen.
This is literally a recreation, but they add like a few. I'll say that with Aladdin. Aladdin did good because it added like more depth to some of the characters, like Jasmine, and gave her like a little backstory and fleshed her character out more. So I was like, okay, they tried to explore other things, but like some of the other ones are just like a straight up remake of live action.
1-to-1 comparison.
Yeah, I think the ones that you probably can count that's not remakes is like Maleficent, because that's like an origin story.
And then Mulan too.
Yeah,
like Mulan wasn't a remake. It wasn't a remake.
It wasn't a remake because they didn't even have music, which I enjoyed that one actually because the action was fire. Like it was like some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. They had Michelle, you were thinking there, Jet Li.
Oh,
they had some heavy hitters, and I was like, okay. But Mulan is one of my favorite animated movies that don't get a lot of love. It should, but you know,
it should honestly.
For another day.
Yeah, no another podcast, man. Let us know in the comments you want to hear that.
But yeah, and it's even and what's funny is, okay, Disney, since you want to do this, let's start talking about the movies that y'all won't make live action of.
Ooh,
like Pocahontas.
They ain't doing that. They ain't touching that. It's too much. Look, Disney's like this. We like money, but we ain't trying to touch it.
Look, Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, they can't do it. They can't do it. Oh my God, Hunchback of Notre Dame was in a time period where we had a different time period when that movie came out. They can't touch it now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of my favorite all time. Because that soundtrack was crazy. And man, that also Hellfire, underrated. People don't talk about it enough. They need to talk about that song. That's top 10 Disney song for sure. That song is fire. Pun intended.
Pun intended. So I just named 2 of them.
Yeah.
I could pull them up right now, and I could probably name at least 5 that they will not. Let me see.
Hey, give us 3 more for a good 5.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up. Let's see. Let's see what they. I'm trying to go in the bag, deep in the bag. Damn, they did. I forgot they did do a Chip and Dale movie. Dang, they did do a Chip and Dale. They had Ugly Sonic in there. I forgot all about that. That's crazy. I literally forgot all about the Chip and Dale movie. That is freaking crazy, bro.
Oh man,
no, that's crazy. Like when I seen, I was like, oh yeah, they did do that. Pinocchio, that failed.
Oh yeah, because wasn't there like 2 different Pinocchios that year though? Like a Pinocchio.
Yeah, it was Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
which was good. That was stop motion, and then Disney did a live action version of that Pinocchio, which was bad.
And they swept that under the rug because like they didn't promote that at all. Like I don't.
Because it was bad. That's how bad it was. Oh, another live action that I know they won't make. We talked about it. The Black Cauldron. They won't do that one
because they don't want money. They don't want money. That's just they don't want money. You get money right off that.
Yeah, they won't do that. What's another one that's controversial that they won't touch? They did. I think I named the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll mainly be those because we already said Treasure Planet and what was the other one?
Atlantis.
Atlantis. So those 2 they won't touch, which is crazy.
Which those are the 2 that I wanted to see. And honestly, I would like to look. As much as they won't touch Hunchback of Notre Dame, I'd love to see them try.
That would be would be a great live action movie.
It would be.
And I think with that one, you could even break the narrative and hit a little PG-13 with it and make it really for the adult audience. Because people would pay to see that. because it's
100%.
it's an actual story that they adapted, and it's crazy
Mm-hmm.
because even though it's like really dark, they made it like a little lighter than the actual story, and it's still
Mm-hmm.
dark. So
It
that's why I was
is.
like, they killed it with that movie. And I'm like, y'all over here making all these like the Little Mermaid. Why? Why was that a live action movie? I know why, because it's just
We
like
know
Lion King. You
why.
know,
Yeah,
the
we know
superstars.
why.
You know,
Yeah, you want
you
to
get
bring
the
him in with a
star-studded cast.
superstar. Yeah, but because here's the thing, they didn't. And here's another problem with the. And this is just my own gripe. Get new actors. Don't get. It's cool.
Yeah, but
Childish Gambino's cool, but get
I
us some new
honestly,
people.
honestly, bro, I campaigned so hard for her sister to be in that movie instead of her, Solange. Solange
Oh
would have
yeah,
did a
you
way
were.
better job
Yeah,
because
you were.
she can really act and she's talented. And it's like Beyonce just Beyonce when she acts sometimes. And that's what she Nala, I was like, that's Beyonce. Like I don't it took me completely out of when I heard it. I was like, that's just Beyonce
And I
talking
feel
on the
like
mic.
yeah, and I feel like that's the problem. Is I feel like that kind of brings it takes you out of the character because you recognize the voice because they're not really doing they're not changing their voice in any way or like trying to act in a different way, which kind
Mm-hmm.
of you you're just paying to see these characters be played by these actors and stuff like or these well-known people. You're not there for the story because the story could be whatever. Like Little Mermaid story could have been whatever. You're there for Holly, not Holly,
Haley Bailey.
Haley, Haley Berry. I knew it was something. Yeah, Haley
Mm-hmm.
Berry. You're there for her and stuff like that. So I wish they would do. I wish a lot of movies would do this. Hire just very unknown or very like starting in their craft type actors and stuff like that are good, but like they're not like A list
Yeah.
because that would help out with one conveying the story a lot better. Two, giving new actors a new role
Or
and stuff like that.
or give them to voice actors. Like
Yeah, or just give them voice actors. Voice
give it to the
actors.
voice actors, bro. I would go see a movie with actual good people who do voiceover. The people who do it, give them the parts, man. And you have in certain occasions where like actors do good at it, but it's like
Yeah.
when y'all just can't. Because even with Donald Glover, like Donald Glover, he has a good. His voice is nice and stuff, but it's just like certain people is not. I just hear them. I don't hear the,
Yeah.
like with James Earl Jones and Matthew Broderick when they did
Mm-hmm.
Simba and Mufasa. That was it was Simba and Mufasa. They made those characters. They gave them that life, and that's another thing. We going back to what we were saying with animation. You bring, you literally brought something to life that was
Yep.
on paper, that
Mm-hmm.
was hand drawn, which is what made them so good to me. And I always say that's what I love about animation because it's that connection of the artist and the art. We know that somebody, that a human being, just like me and you,
Yeah.
was at that table drawn, and they like breathed life into that character, and that's what's on the
Mm-hmm.
screen. So that's what Disney was, the magic. Like they banked off of the magic of animation.
Yep.
So when we get the live action versions, I'm looking at a line, something that in real life I know will probably eat me, and I'm watching it live action, and it's trying to tell me about the circle of life, and I'm like, nah, fam, you know,
Yeah,
cause
this is
like
something.
cause in most animals they have like a deadpan stare, so it's
That's what
like,
I was about to say.
yeah, and it's crazy because the Jungle Book, for some reason, it worked. It's they played with the facial expressions of the animals,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I think they learned that because in the Mufasa one, it looks like they did tweaked it a lot and kind of gave them more facial expressions. But I was like, man, bro, they look creepy as hell talking about some Simba, the circle of life, and joking and laughing. I'm like, heck nah, bro, I ain't feeling this.
Man,
So,
it just looks like animals talking, and not in a
mhm.
good like '90s animals talking, like when you had all those like talking
Oh
animal
yeah, the
movies in
mouth be
the '90s.
like this.
Yeah, right.
Bro, it's so weird. It's so weird because I used to love it, and I knew as a kid I was like, bro, that's complete bullshit. I know animals' mouths don't move like that when they talk, if they was to talk, but I'm with
Okay,
it 100%.
right. I'm
Or
into
either
this.
or either they just had the animals and you heard the voiceover and they didn't move their mouth, so I was good with that. But now we got lions and tigers and elephants talking to me.
Right? Talking, exactly. And you're just like, I don't believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now. So I think if because you mentioned something that I want to come back to is like Disney is not they're not putting out animation the way that they used to. They're not. It's there's something the magic about it is diminishing a little bit when, and maybe that's why they're deciding to move to the 3D because they think that sells a little bit better or it can capture it that way, or maybe they're just like, we've done animation for blanky blank amount of years. Let's try to tap into this other market and let's do our cash cows and stuff like that. But it doesn't work just because once somebody's already seen something, it just like why am I going to? Why can't I just wait to go? Why can't I wait till Disney Plus? Why am I going to the theater to see this?
Yeah, it's like you telling me because I'm gonna just say this because you got the shirt on. It's like they telling me, hey, we're gonna make a live action Goofy movie, but the characters are just gonna be black, and we're gonna rename everybody.
Oh man,
but even the stuff like real talk, even the stuff like that, like why can't you just come up with something new, continue an old story, give us another Goofy movie about Max as a dad now.
Yeah.
Give us what else can we get? Continue the story with Treasure Planet and Atlantis and all that stuff.
They technically did with Atlantis, but that's a straight to DVD and it was trash.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
we don't talk about that.
That's why I brought it up because I was like, it needs to be done justice. But you know, you have so many stories that you can tell through animation that I think is like so amazing. And now you even have these properties like we got Marvel and Star Wars and stuff. You got all this other stuff you done bought into.
Indiana Jones are paying away too.
Yeah, bringing those into the mix of animation. Like animation, people still watch animated stuff. It's very obvious when one of the biggest things in America that people watch is anime, which outsells with their books and manga. Like people still watch it. People tune in to watch anime. They would love to see those classics again. And I really think Disney kind of fell more into the reigns of Pixar and they started to bank more on that because they were trying to compete with DreamWorks because DreamWorks was killing it with Shrek. So it's like, all right, we got to get back here. And they lost that magic of what they was known for. Because, bro, I'm finna blow your mind right now.
All right.
I'm finna ask you a trivia question, putting you on the spot. Do you know what the last animated feature film done in classic animations, like the drawing and all that? What do you know what it was for Disney?
For Disney, last 2D.
Yeah.
That was either I think it. I want to say it's either. I know the last era, so I would say either Treasure Planet or Atlantis. I feel like those were those the last ones. Which one was it?
It's actually the more recent. It was The Princess and the Frog.
Oh yes, yeah. That was it. Yeah, you're right.
And that was what I was in high school. I think that was the year I graduated. That was 2009.
I thought it was 8.
Either way, I know I was a senior in high school when it came out. So that was like that been almost 20 years.
That is right. Princess of the Frog was the last.
You know what I'm saying? That was what 2008. My little sister is what? She 18 now. She's born in 06. So that shows you how long ago that was because we took her to see that movie. That was the last 2D animated full feature length film. And remember we were supposed to get a series on Disney Plus about her.
We never got that.
Because they're so focused on this live action run they got. And it's really killing it. It's killed the animation. And that's just animation period and all. It's 2D animation is becoming a relic.
It really is. And it's so on a note on the same thing. Are you more for them to stop live action and just all the way across the board when it comes to their live action property than just go back to 2D and possibly 3D animation? Or do you want them to equal it out?
I think you can do it. But if you do it, like we said, do stories that's I wouldn't even say that's not so popular, but that could translate good on screen.
Yeah.
Stop trying to do these movies about like characters that have to be CGI or it has to be complete CGI or human with CGI.
Mm.
Like you said, like Lilo's and Stitch and Lion King and Beauty and the Beast,
Snow
which was
White.
okay, Snow White. But it's like give us some movies that we don't expect. Gamble a little bit, take a
Yeah.
chance because it might actually work. Like we said, Hunchback of Notre Dame would be a great one to do.
Mhm.
It,
Yeah.
it'll it that could possibly be a great musical. It could possibly be Oscar nominated because it'll be up in there like how Wicked is doing because it has that kind of like status to it and it can hold that weight by its own on its
The
own. And
story
it's like
itself can hold this alone holds that weight.
yeah, so I don't completely disown it, but I'm just like y'all are really stretching it now because when you doing movies that ain't even over 10 years old, it's like it's crazy, bro. It's literally crazy to see that a Moana live action movie is coming out within a sequel of the Pixar movie just came out. That's blowing my mind. And they talk about it's supposed to be this year, I think.
Yeah, I
2025
think
is
it
supposed to
might
come
be.
out.
Yeah. I
And I'm
I
like, bro,
think
that's crazy.
I think it's I've honestly I honestly know why they're doing it. It's because it's just the last thing that we just did with Moana too. Oh, here you
Mm-hmm.
go. Here's a
Yeah,
live
that
action.
IP.
It's
But they know they trying to sell them toys, merchandise, and it's bro, like I get you got to make your money, but at what cost? What
man.
sacrifice? Now at this point,
All they see is dollars, dollar bill signs in their eye. They're not looking at
yeah.
the back like what they're gonna leave behind. They're not looking at that.
And to your point, like you were saying, to your question, like I was saying earlier, it's affecting the Pixar movies now because I was looking at what's coming out, right? So
Yeah.
this is the upcoming live action movies. Like we said, Snow White, Lilo and Stitch, Moana, and there was another one that they was doing a live action. I can't remember.
Mm,
But those are the three, right?
yeah.
So with those three that's coming up now, in between that, we have Elio. That's a new Pixar movie coming out. And then
Mm-hmm.
Zootopia 2.
Yeah.
And then next year is Toy Story 5. Oh, Moana's supposed to be next year. Toy Story
Oh,
5,
okay.
Incredibles 3, all of that is coming out. And I'm like, it's getting into that weird territory now. It's okay, now y'all doing Pixar movies. So what's next? Y'all gonna do a live action Incredibles because y'all want another Avengers movie? It's
Don't give them idea they will. Like when they feel desperate
if
and
we
dirty,
don't,
they going
that's something personally I don't want. I don't
oh,
want a
I'm
live
good.
action Incredibles.
Yeah,
Like,
no. Make a third one that's animated and keep it going. Also, on
nah.
a side note, listen, Toy Story 4 was my last Toy Story. I'm not going to see a Toy Story.
And I
I'm just
and
not.
bro, I was like, bro, I thought Ford did a good job.
Yeah.
It gave Woody his send off, and I'm like, what could y'all possibly do? The only thing I could think of is if Andy comes back around and he has kids
No,
now and
you
he
don't.
get his toys back. That's the
You
only
don't know
thing
what
I
it
could think
is.
of. What?
It's supposed to be about the iPad kids, man. Toys
Man,
competing with
please.
iPads. I
Man,
thought you
please.
knew. That's why I told you I'm not invested. But the audience will go see it, and that's fine.
Hey man, Disney,
Go
you
see it.
signed. I ain't mad at you. Y'all sign y'all checks, get y'all money, but I ain't
Yeah,
going to see that
exactly.
shit.
I'm not invested. I'm more invested in Incredible 3 because I do think like I went back and rewatched them obviously, and I think they hold out very well. Incredibles, the first one is
Good.
amazing,
2 was
and the
good though.
second one is good, but it's not better than the first one. And that's the
Yeah, it's
only
not
reason it's
better.
not. That's the only reason that I don't say it is I say
But it
it's
was
like
good.
this, but they're
It was
both good, solid.
it was good for a movie that took so long to be made, but
Yeah,
picked up. I like how it picked up right after
right
the
after
first one.
that. Yeah,
So
so it
that
was
was pretty
great.
good.
It just wasn't as good as the first one. Oh, it's like perfect. That's a perfect movie. Honestly, the First Incredibles.
Hmm.
I have no problem with that movie, especially as an adult. But that's for like
Yeah,
I say, I'm getting on a side here. That's for a whole other
yeah.
podcast. I can talk about that for hours. But let me think if I can think of any other burning questions. I guess I can answer. I haven't answered the question. I think that I want Disney to, unless it's like a really good live action, stick to 2D. Unless you're gonna give us something that like a Hunchback or Notre Dame or Atlantis or like a Treasure Planet where it makes sense for those things to do those things, be in those aspects, or they're gonna be like slam dunks and like they're like guaranteed hits. Don't do it. Like Lilo and Stitch is good, it's whatever, but I'm gonna go watch the Lilo and Stitch movie and the TV show before I go watch.
Yeah, I'm not finna pay to watch that.
So I'm not knocking live action, but I'm saying make strategic moves that are gonna be good for not only your pockets but the audience's pockets. The majority of people wanting them. Because if you go on social media, I'd say the two movies that people wanted, Atlantis and freaking Treasure Planet. That's what they're asking.
They always say it, bro.
There's even fan cast of them and stuff like that.
I would say they had Tom Holland and Zendaya and all that.
Zendaya,
They've been fan casting it for years now. Y'all just straight up ignoring them, bro. And y'all giving us everything we didn't ask for.
Like everything else that we don't want.
I'm not even a fan of the Snow White animated movies. And y'all making a live action one. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody, bro. Nobody.
Yeah,
bro.
when it comes to animated films or animated Disney projects, I forget about Snow White a lot of the times.
Snow White it's dated, so that's why I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah. It's very dated, and also it's a little strange. The premise is pretty strange.
It's very strange.
They go out to rework that origin story because that was a little off, you know.
Well,
but with that being said, do you have any other final remarks before we wrap this thing up?
Nah, man, just stop making live action movies, or at least limit them to one. Or at least limit them to one a year or one every 2 years or something.
I do one every 5 years, man. Let us have time to forget that happened before you're like, oh, here's another one. Yeah. But I agree.
That's all I really gotta say. Cause y'all banking off of my childhood and nostalgia is like getting crazy now. And it's not just for you, Disney, it's for everybody else who's doing all these reboots and remakes. Stop. Like,
reboots, remakes, continuation of stories that don't really need to be continued. But like you're banking off of nostalgia, and I'm tired of people banking off of nostalgia. Like I don't want to see a remake of something I saw as a kid. I want to see a continuation of a story. Continue the story.
I'm a grown ass man. Give me something new. I still watch cartoons, but damn, give me something new at least.
Give me something with a little more subplot, man. Come on now.
So that's all I gotta say.
I got nothing else. I'm tapped. I said everything I need to say, and if you guys agree with us, share in the comment section down below. We'll be down there to talk to you guys and stuff like that. And we're nice people. Just talk to us about that. If you agree with what we said, tell us that. If you disagree, love to hear that too. And keep it civil though. We're nice. Keep it nice.
Yeah, nice and respectable.
And also, let us know down in the comment section below what your top 5, or at the very least top 3 live action that you want to see.
If you have any. Yeah,
if you have any, give us your list and stuff like that. Give us a list of ones you don't want to see. I'd love to see that too. I'd love to see a list of movies you like. Disney, don't touch that. Leave that. Don't bring that one out. That was not good. You'll make your money, but don't do it.
What he said.
With that being said, I'm your host, Dmitri.
I'm your host, Marcus.
And also follow us on our Instagram, or don't even follow us on X. Just Instagram, really. Instagram, a Discord. And we are working on somewhat a Reddit. So when that happens, follow us there.
We'll let y'all know.
Hit the share button on the side of the video, or hit the notification bell on the side of the video, get notified of this video and future videos. Share it, comment, follow us on Rap Nerd Tuesdays and Thursdays. Shout out to Rap Nerd. Shout out to Always Press Record. Shout out to people who follow us on all of our social medias and stuff like that, and check out our videos and leave us comments. We appreciate you. And we are on a road to 1,000. Keep jumping in with us.
We halfway there.
we halfway. Keep coming with us and help us out and to reach our goal. And we appreciate it.
No,
And
we definitely do a lot.
we do. And with that, we are out. Peace.
Deuces.